Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we're highlighting the people and organizations helping build a stronger future across our state. From empowering young women through mentorship and leadership, to redefining teamwork and success, to investing in housing, neighborhoods, and economic opportunity in communities that need it most. Helping the next generation succeed starts with giving young people the tools to lead, grow, and believe in themselves. Joining us now is Makeba Green, board chair of the International Girls Academy, a Newark-based nonprofit dedicated to uplifting and empowering girls through leadership, education, and community engagement. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa.
I love that we have been reconnected recently because
Yes.
I served as the keynote speaker at your event in March. We capped off International Women's Month in an epic way. That was so much fun at the Intuit headquarters in New York City.
Yes.
But you and I started together back in 2012.
Yes.
We established, because we both couldn't really remember off the top of our heads,
Right.
when you interned for me.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to see one of my interns just flourish the way you have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm excited to see everything full circle. So
Yeah,
Yes.
those are the best kind of moments.
no, definitely.
So International Girls Academy, I was super impressed by the organization once you educated me, and I want you
Yes.
now to educate our audience.
Definitely. So ultimately, I started the International Girls Academy in honor of one of our friends who took their life to suicide when I was in high school. And that was something that really, really stuck out with me, right? And really kind of created this concept of what's community, what's support, and how do we put our resources, right? So kind of when developing IGA, I didn't want to make it like a cookie cutter program where it's just like, hey, this is just another empowerment group, but rather how do we develop programs to give students resources, right? So those resources is, hey, through our UGMA business program, through our Kwambathon program, through career development and giving students the soft skills and putting them in the room, right? Which is why they had the opportunity to go to Intuit headquarters, in New York, right? So under the age of 18 years old. So
You had 10-year-olds
Yes.
in that room pitching products and business ideas.
Yes.
It was just incredible.
Thank you.
Just a testament to your hard work. I didn't realize you started it.
Yes.
It's a lot of
Everything
craziness
comes-
owning a business,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
What's the biggest thing you learned about that?
You have to be motivated, right? Because I think sometimes, everyone wants to start a business. Everyone thinks it's like a trend, like, oh, I'm just going to be a business owner and just be a content creator. But it's like you have to love it, right? And you cannot do it for the money. Your heart has to be in it, right? And you have to wake up every day saying, I'm ready, right? And you're ready for whatever happens, what doesn't happen, and just kind of keep that consistency going.
So your organization is based in Newark. Why was it important for you to establish there?
Oh, definitely. So Newark is originally where I'm from. So though we are based in Newark, we don't just service students in Newark, New Jersey. So we have the honor to service students in New Jersey and the tri-state area, as well as in the Ohio area, Cleveland, specifically in the DMV. So that's why, we're the International Girls Academy, right? Because I believe that students all over need to connect, right? And that's how they build their capacity. That's how they build opportunities and resources. So.
Why did you pick those other locations?
So those are actually students that we had the opportunity to work with during COVID. So we officially launched IGA right before COVID. People thought we were crazy, like, hey man, students still need to be supported, right? And at the end of the day, students need to feel like they have a voice, especially during that time. And it was really great because organically, girls just reached out. They DM'd us. They saw a post like, hey, how can I join? And then the rest was history, right? So to kind of start an organization with just 4 students, and now we service over 1,000 students, right? So just not just in Newark, but throughout, right? So.
Yeah. You focus on leadership, advocacy, storytelling.
Yes.
Why are those skills so important for you to hone in on?
Regardless of whatever you want to be in life, right, you have to be able to communicate. And that is a skill that will outlast anything, right? So whether you're a 4.0 student, you've graduated top of your class, if you can't talk to people, you're not going to make it, right? Because at the end of the day, people want people that's relatable. People want people that's friendly, like that's a human. So really to teach students at their young age, how do you talk to somebody? How do you be a human, right? And especially in the world of AI, how do you, what are soft skills? How do you say good morning when you walk into a room? How do you introduce yourself instead of just, staring on your phone, right? that's definitely like missing nowadays. And these are skills that will outlast, like literally will last you forever. So
I also love that you incorporate a lot of mentorship
Yes.
into the programs. How important is that aspect?
Oh, for sure. I think that in today's world, every student needs a cheerleader, right? Every student needs someone to say, I believe in you. And not only do I believe in you, these are the resources, and this is what that looks like, right? Because it's one thing to tell a kid, you can be a doctor when you grow up. But again, if this student doesn't have the right steps, if this student doesn't have the right resources, it becomes lip service, right? So that's why mentorship is so important, to have someone guide you, right? And like literally say like, okay, you want to be a doctor? This is what we're going to do. And this is what this partnership looks like. So it's very, very important.
Girls are dealing with a lot.
Yes.
We mentioned phones, social media, self-esteem issues,
Right.
all of that. How are you helping them overcome?
Definitely. So the first thing, like we try to tell all students that they don't have to ever feel like they have to shrink for anybody, right? So regardless of where we are, and we make every student feel and understand that they belong in every room, right? That's the first thing. And then two, really helping to build up confidence. And that looks like supplying students with endless resources and opening them up to opportunities and introducing them to different people and places. So therefore, instead of just thinking, hey, I want to be a teacher, they can be everything, right? We don't believe in limitations at IGA. It's just like, hey, what do you want to do? Who do we need to call? And let's just make it happen, right? And that builds a level of confidence, right? We have a six-year-old student. Her name is Nandi. She has her own ice cream business, right? And every time when it comes to like speaking, she's the first one. She's like, I'm ready, right? And that's amazing, right? Because it shows that she is fearless, and that's the goal. We want every girl to continue that, because as you know, when students get older, the confidence drops, right? They're excited when they're young, like, okay, cool. And then high school, they become too cool, literally.
And I think a lot of girls, they shrink themselves to
Right.
fit in.
Right.
And you're proving that that's not what you have to do.
Yep. And just ultimately telling girls that, you set the trend, right? You are the Beyonce, right? People come to see you because of your level of grace, because of your level of accomplishments. And when you take that, right, and plus resources, right, again, not just words, and actually pour into a student, it's magic. Very magical.
Totally. Well, you are magic. My friend, where can people find out more and to support?
Definitely. So we have our beautiful website, theinternationalgirlsacademy.com. All of our socials is the International Girls Academy.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, I am so happy that we reconnected, and anything that me and on New Jersey and our whole team here can help, we're there with you.
I appreciate it. And thank you so much for everything that you do.
Leadership isn't just about what you know, it's about who you surround yourself with. Joining us now is Dr. Edward Lazzara, author, educator, high school principal, and founder of Championship Culture. His new book, Who's Your Squad? Blood, Grit, and Pasta, dives into what it really takes to build strong teams and lasting success. Inspired by real-life lessons, including a powerful New Jersey high school championship story, Dr. Lazzara shares a practical framework for leadership that applies far beyond the classroom. Eddie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We haven't even talked yet, but this is already one of my favorite segments, because if you are Italian, you know exactly what it is I'm holding.
You get it, right?
A big wooden spoon. I mean, you can give Aaron Judge this, and he'd be hitting home runs left and right out of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that's funny.
Why am I holding this?
I just had that made, because my mom was like the enforcer in the household. Josephine, that's the Josephine spoon. It's the enforcer. She was always ready to deliver the punch with it if needed. It was different. It's a conversation piece, and she just always had it.
So who's your squad? Blood, Grit, and Pasta. How does which I love, by the way, how does all of this tie together?
So the blood, grit, and pasta part is that Italian piece. Mom was always making, Josephine was always making pasta, was always making food. In an Italian household, it's food, it's food, it's food. To me, it resonated. So who's your squad is, the people that you are surrounded by. It's an acronym. So squad stands for who supports you, questions you, understands you, advises you, and demands the best from you. Those are your 5 categories. When we go around speaking to kids, we talk about that you should have somebody in those 5 categories. Now, if you're lucky, your mom is all of those. And my mom was my squad captain, and she was all of those. 1,000 questions all the time. But I tell the kids, like, if you have a mom like that, they might be like really like a pain to you right now, but you should appreciate that. You're gonna come to appreciate that one day. And if you couple that with a mom and a dad who do that, man, you're golden. You're on your way. I don't know. It just all kind of came together with the book, like who's your squad, and then the championship run. Like we were terrible. We were 2-18.
Where was this?
We were in Mount Olive.
And you were a coach?
Yeah. In my first couple of years there, we were terrible. We didn't win a game our first year, and then we went undefeated and won the state championship.
Wow.
So that story is chronicled in there, and the characters and all that. And then my mom, after every chapter, it's what would Josephine do? She's got her piece after every chapter, stories about her and stuff like that. And then the squad framework and how that works. And I don't know how it came together. It just kind of came together.
You shared that your mother passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
Did you reconnect with her in some way in writing this?
Absolutely. You remember stories, and like I do have an idea for a second version of this, and it would be called Sundays with Josephine, because all of my friends and my sister's friends, and they all have a story about Josephine. For some reason, they all have a story about Josephine. So we thought it would be a good idea. Once this gets going a little bit, and maybe a year or two down the road, we can start interviewing like our friends and family and what their stories were. And so it's just funny. Everybody seems to have a story about Josephine and the advice that she would give people and stuff like that. So it's been fun connecting like that. And honestly, like, it just sounds crazy, but I don't know if I ever would have wrote it had my mom not passed away. It's kind of, like eventually maybe, but I don't know. I just felt like, I want to get some of these stories out here. Next thing you know.
That's what you did. So you are now the principal at Sparta High School. When did that happen?
2021? Yeah, 5 years, so 21.
You can't walk around like this.
I cannot
No,
walk
you
around
can't.
like
But have you rolled out the book to your students?
No, like I have the spoon on my desk, and I do. We've had the guys come in and girls that work with us to present to our kids, like student leadership development and workshops and those types of things. I just did it with some of the seniors. I did a whole workshop on squad and who you're hanging out with. We've done that, but I didn't ever think I would ever do something like that. So it's just kind of all new to me.
But you'll get the confidence to do that. Definitely. I want to shout out the people that connected us.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tony and Sue Sorrentino, Coach
absolutely.
Sar.
Coach Sar.
When your book came out, Sue called me the second she found out. You
that's so
have
funny.
to get Eddie on your show.
That's so
I'm
funny.
happy we made it happen.
Absolutely. They're in it. They're in
the
first chapter. Yeah.
Oh, what did you say about them?
I just talked about when I was younger, like I didn't get good grades. I wasn't academic. I wanted to sports and girls and whatever. Like I was not interested. And I gave my parents a hard time. And Coach Sar and some other teachers, it was one teacher, Glenn Martorana. I don't know if you,
oh, yeah.
Do you have him?
I had Marto.
Was he the best or what?
He was my drama teacher.
See?
Yeah.
See? So I call him
Loved
GM.
him.
And he was instrumental for me. So that first chapter is kind of how I got into this.
I love that.
And him and Coach Sar.
All great people. Well,
Great people.
Thank you so much for coming here. I'm so happy we're connected.
I know. I can't believe it. So thank you so much. This is a totally new thing for me. So
where can people get a copy of the book and to get a spoon?
All right, so there's only a limited edition number of spoons. Like there's only like 40 spoons. The book is on Amazon. If you go to Amazon, it's just Who's Your Squad. But you can easily do it on our website, which is championshipculture.net. So that can tell you all about championship culture and our leadership development and who's on our staff and all that. And then that's got a whole section on Who's Your Squad and how you can buy the spoon and how you can buy the book and all that.
Amazing. I'm so happy we're connected.
Yeah,
Thank
this is
you.
great. Thank you so much.
So much fun.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Affordable housing, strong neighborhoods, and economic opportunity. Those are the building blocks of thriving communities here in New Jersey. Joining us now is Jorge Cruz, Executive Director of LISC New Jersey, one of the nation's leading community development organizations. George, I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thanks for the invitation. Very much appreciate the opportunity, Lisa Marie.
It feels like yesterday. We were all gathered at MetLife Stadium
That's
down the
right.
street
Right,
for
right.
your 40th anniversary celebration. I was honored to serve as MC and to learn everything that you do so wonderfully here in the Garden State. You have a lot to be proud of.
No, and well, first of all, thank you again for lending your talents to us, serve as our MC. You did an amazing job, and it's really our opportunity to celebrate those partners, whether organizational and individual partners who have been with us from day one to help us build our foundation of our work. That's what the event is all about, and will continue to be hopefully for the next 40 years.
At MetLife Stadium. I love that venue.
Yeah. Well, and no, I love the venue as well. I'm a pretty obsessive Giants fan, by the way, and the New York Giants themselves and the NFL as a league has been one of those partners, for pretty much almost our entire 40 years, being able to provide grants that help improve football fields in a bunch of communities across the country. So it's not just a venue, they're not just a host, they really are a partner of ours.
For those who are not familiar, what is LISC and what do you do in New Jersey?
So, LISC was created at this point, from a national standpoint, 47 years ago by the Ford Foundation. Quite frankly, we were created to serve as one of the financial responders to the anti-poverty and civil rights movement of our generation prior. So our job then and our job now is to serve as that financial alternative to those communities that have been most historically challenged economically, systemically, and being able to work with a number of other partners, big partners. We're sort of like the filter, right? Banks, corporate partners, and sports partners like the NFL and other franchises to aggregate their resources through LISC. And our job is in turn to take those resources and deploy directly into those communities that need it the most. And that's how we were realized in New Jersey, starting in Newark 40 years ago, and have since grown to pretty much cover the entire state.
And you've invested millions.
We have, and let me stress the word we, so it's not LISC. So for every dollar that we invest into individual projects or individual organizations, there's another $5, $10 that comes from our partners, right? While the dollar numbers may be pretty impressive, almost $500 million in our 40 years of existence, I think what we're most proud of is that covers a small mini grant of $1,000 to a resident-led, resident-formed project in a Newark neighborhood to a $100 million low-income housing tax credit project that's benefiting 100 or more families. We are not a high-volume lender and never will be. Our job is to be that niche, that gap funder, to fill that void that needs to be filled.
With all the investment that you and your partners have done in the state over the years and decades, talk about the impact that's had on families and individuals.
We sort of view our work as, if it was not for our investment or not for that particular project, there's a good chance that family or that individual may not have been able to afford that home or afford that apartment, or a small business not being able to open up. Because without our investment and without our engagement, those new homes, those new businesses would simply not exist.
You often say housing is the foundation for what happens here in New Jersey. Why is that so critical, especially now?
We have a real supply issue here in New Jersey of available, affordable homes, right? We know that quality, secure home is crucial and is foundational for everyone. But we also know that we live in a really pretty expensive real estate market. We don't have an abundance of available property. So we got to figure out with our developers, with our investors, with our government partners to figure out how we can make those properties accessible, give enough quantity and the type of money to make sure that those projects are materialized and that we have an impact in increasing the supply of affordable housing. So yeah, that's really the heart of our work.
I'm happy that you put that education out there, because in the Garden State we see so much construction. Right. These apartment complexes are popping up like around every corner, it seems like. Right. But what you're saying is that isn't enough, or it's not serving the population that it needs to be serving.
Well, yeah, it's exactly that's exactly it. So there might be there might be a good amount of total housing, right? But in terms of the amount of accessible and affordable housing, that's the real concern, and we just need to do more to increase the supply of that sort of accessible housing.
Let's talk about a specific city here in New Jersey, Paterson. Sure. What is the 1 Square Mile initiative?
So yeah, we're excited to recently be identified as the what's referred to as the backbone organization to sort of serve as the lead convener, the lead facilitator of a coalition that had already been formed in about 2 years in the making by Montclair State University. So Montclair State is the main institutional partner. So I guess just over 2 years ago, they decided that they wanted to focus a lot of their attention, a lot of their institutional resources to helping to partner with Paterson to help improve and address a number of educational, economic, and now housing challenges, especially with the new president. So they hired a planning firm, the TCG Group out of Chicago, decided to put together a 2-year plan and brought together a lot of local stakeholders and nonprofit partners and other leaders, and ended up forming this housing plan to focus on 3 particular neighborhoods in Paterson. But they realized they needed a objective convener and facilitator to take this plan and move it into the implementation stage. So we were fortunate to be selected. Just recently got off the ground to work with those partners to now take that plan and that vision and move it into implementation over the next 3 years.
LISC New Jersey has a lot going on, and I have to think that you're able to keep this all straight because you're so passionate about what you're doing.
No, that's for sure. But we also benefit from being a part of a much larger national network, where the New Jersey office is one of 34, field offices. And when you add our LISC rural team, I think at this point serves over 2,000 designated rural communities across the country, and in a couple of U.S. territories, in Puerto Rico and Guam, as 2 examples, and a number of the rural communities right here in the southern part of our state here in New Jersey. Being a part of that national network and the resources, the leadership coming from our national office down to the local offices, supports all of our work. And I got to point to, I have an amazing New Jersey team. There's 7 of us, working out of our main office in Newark. So yeah, and they're certainly very passionate about what they do, but they're able to meet their passion with their talents. And so yeah, given our local team and those national resources, and of course our partners and investors, certainly contribute to all that we do.
Besides providing resources and finances for affordable housing units and everything you also give back to the community. We were just talking about the World Cup,
right.
The little event that's happening 2 miles down the street pretty
Right.
soon.
Right.
And you're going to be helping people with their watch parties and community
That's right.
events, and maybe they're securing funding, but you want to give them even more to make sure that they're doing everything that they need to. And I think that's really cool that you give back to in those ways as well.
No, and I think what's really pretty interesting and pretty cool about LISC is that, we realized many moons ago that beyond our focus of housing, that we also needed to identify other areas of focus and other subsets that affect neighborhoods. So housing is certainly the anchor of our work, the foundation of our work, but there's a number of really important subsets and areas of focus within every neighborhood. So in addition to housing, focusing on business development and economic development and health and education, we actually have 10 distinct but very much interrelated areas of focus. So within our small business focus, we realized that with the World Cup coming into town, and particularly given how it could benefit the small businesses, certainly within our our home community of Newark, and certainly with Paterson, with the Cosmos, right, making Hinchcliffe Stadium their home stadium, and the USL, moving into New Jersey. If we could make sure that we can contribute to those efforts that are looking to connect our small businesses to those, to what's happening through those 39 days with the World Cup. So we're working with the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Invest Newark, Newark Alliance, and a lot of others like-minded partners who are at this point on the ground running a whole set of business development activities and educating businesses in a number of communities to understand how they can maximize what's happening with the World Cup. So we're really fortunate to be one of those contributors.
George, this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Lisa Marie. We very much appreciate it.
Where can people find out more about LISC New Jersey?
No, probably the easiest way is to jump on our website. So if you go to LISC.org, LISC.org // New Jersey, you get all the information that you'll need.
Well, we'll see you again at MetLife Stadium.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.